Welcome to Lesson 5 in Unit 21, From Sun to Food. In this lesson, students will work together to answer the question, why do we plant seeds in soil? In this lesson, students compare the seeds they planted in soil to those without and also explore the components of soil. Students set up an investigation on what happens to plant matter when it decays. Students figure out that soil is made of different parts. Even though plants can gain matter without soil, soil is made up of many things that promote plant growth. Students make connections to the storyline by considering the importance of soil on a pizza farm. There are several opportunities for ELA cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 21 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 to 5 days to complete. For the Engage portion, you'll give student groups the seeds they planted in soil and the control cups to compare and ask them what they notice and wonder. You'll revisit the driving question board and add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to why plants grow in soil or why we plant seeds in soil if they can grow without it. Remind students that plants use air and water to grow but can gain matter without soil. For the Explore portion, you'll divide students into pairs and give each a paper plate and small amount of soil to observe. You can use the soil provided in the kit. However, we recommend using the trowel to obtain fresh soil from a garden or grassy area near your school. This can be done ahead of time, or you can take students outside to get the samples. Ideally, the soil sample will include some plant matter and evidence of animals, like ants, spiders, pill bugs, worms, etc. Encourage students to touch and observe the sample carefully. Have students wash their hands after the activity. You'll have students record observations on the Soil Observations student journal page. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion about their observations and learning from the activity. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, why do we plant seeds in soil? The goal of this class discussion is to analyze student observations and identify how matter from dead plants cycles back into soil. You will use the discussion to create the Lesson 5 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that the pizza ingredient plants grown on the farm are planted in soil so they can be healthy as they grow. You'll read the book, Dirt, the Scoop on Soil, to the class. Use the Read Aloud Guide to help students synthesize ideas about the importance of soil. During the discussion, you can post and discuss the soil and humus vocabulary cards. You'll have students revise their answers and explain how their thinking has changed on the Soil Observations student journal page. For the Elaborate portion, you'll tell students that they know soil is made up of rotting material and ask how they might set up an investigation to see how soil gets the food or nutrients that help plants grow. You'll allow students to turn and talk, then share a few responses. For this next activity, you'll need to bring in plant material such as fruit or vegetable cuttings, leaves, or clippings. Students should set up the experiment according to the investigation instructions in the teacher guide and curriculum slides. Once the investigation is set up, you'll ask students what they think will happen to the dead plant matter in each cup. You'll allow students to turn and talk, then have students share a few answers. You'll have them record predictions and initial observations in the Decomposition Investigation student journal page. For the Evaluate portion, you'll tell students that they'll use evidence from the activity to add to their model of how energy and matter move on a pizza farm. They'll develop a Gotta Have It checklist that tells them what to add to their model. You'll have students add to their pizza farm models and labeled explanations on the Pizza Farm Model student journal page. You'll then have students work in small groups and use the Pizza Farm Model rubric student journal page and peer feedback table tent cards to provide feedback to each other. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, did we answer any of the questions on our driving question board? If there are questions that have been answered, remove them from the driving question board and place them on the summary charts. Use this as an opportunity to answer the section driving question, how do energy and matter get into our food? Have students complete the Section 2 summative assessment. By the end of this lesson, students will have described that soil is a system made up of many parts that help plants grow. In Lesson 6, students will explore a pond ecosystem to learn how organisms connect through the movement of matter and energy in a food web. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.